I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hi guys! Welcome to It's Bravo Bitch with Hollywood Leon. It's my show! Joining me today in this quarantine lifestyle club thing we got going on, the Zoom lifestyle from Below Deck Season 7, Courtney Skippon. Hey boo!
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited to have you. I feel like Below Deck was so long ago that you were on, but when did it go off? Just earlier this year, right?
End of January, I guess, February.
Yeah. How's it been post Below Deck life?
I mean, the same. Like I didn't really get a chance to experience post Below Deck life because now we're quarantine life. It's kind of the same.
Oh no. Well, I'm sure social media is way different though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So if you guys follow Courtney on Instagram, you guys are gonna know she is like the queen of reposting all the snarky comments that you guys send her. If you guys, I'm not saying send her anything bad, please don't do that. But
we have an influx.
The people that do, she takes it with such like a good attitude and just reposts the hate, which I love. How has social media changed and how do you feel about how it's evolved?
I mean, it's obviously evolved for me because it's been like magnified on such a level. Obviously, before I just had my friends on it, so I'm not receiving hate messages. So it was really eye-opening for me, which has been like a really good learning experience that I'm like in some ways thankful for because I wouldn't like to be ignorant to what's like happening in that capacity, but it's definitely a lot. But it's toned down since the show stopped airing, luckily.
Yeah. Well, follow Courtney. It's always entertaining. We're going to talk about Courtney and her life on Below Deck, but you know, she's here to be a Bravo super fan and comment on the show just like a normal super fan would. She's a huge Bravo fanatic. Your favorite franchise?
I mean, Below Deck, duh.
You know what? I've always told people like, don't sleep on Below Deck. Like it's
so good.
Always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm very excited for the med season.
Yeah, I had to admit though, like after your season, it was so traumatic. It was so much. And I felt like I was involved. Like, you know, obviously you and I are IG friend, so that's why you're on. But it was with me with most of the cast, and you know, even Ashton came into the studio. It was a lot. I felt very involved, and I needed to take a break.
Yeah, so it was emotionally draining.
I am not watching Below Deck sailing. I'm just going to say that. Are you watching that show?
I have been watching sporadically. I tried to watch it, but I just felt like I like because I was on it and it was like really overstimulating for me. I needed like a little separation. I keep trying because there's a lot going on that I feel like I should have insight on, just like personally, but But I really like Jenna. She's a sweetie and I chat to her often.
Is that the chief stew?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about her.
People are, I mean, I haven't seen that much how she comes off on the show, but I think from knowing her personally, and I met her and Adam when I was in LA at one point and they were both really lovely. So you never know how it's going to be portrayed.
Yeah. Well, we all know Adam from the Below Deck series, Mr. Onion Gate himself. I like to start my show with the little thing I like to call gold stars. It's kind of like Wendy's Hot Topics. How you doing? And the first thing I want to talk about is Southern Charmed. You know, it was a really heavy topic last episode, and we talked about what was going on with Catherine sending a Black radio host a monkey emoji, which is completely inappropriate. Check that episode out if you want to get the full scoop. But I'm here to give you guys actually an update on it. Most of the girls have quit on the show. Chelsea has announced she's leaving. Cameron's leaving. Are you a fan of Southern Charmed?
I did actually watch Southern Charm. I like it. I like Cameron. I like Naomi and Chelsea. So I don't know. I didn't like the other franchises of it, so I can't imagine not liking it without those same characters.
Absolutely. Well, my update is that Ashley wanted to jump into the mix, because we were all bashing on Catherine. She wanted to be like, I was right. You guys all bashed me for telling the truth. And we're like, first of all, you were with Thomas, so your credibility
I know.
is shot.
Absolutely shot. And plus, like, she comes off quite unwell on the show. So, like,
Exactly. So her statement is, I have been wrongfully accused of having a relationship with the husband of Cameron. Oh, wait, sorry. That's Rebecca Walsh's statement.
Yeah.
Thomas Ravenel jumped in as well. Ashley, what I just said is literally what she said in her statement. I almost memorized it. Paraphrasing, obviously, but Thomas jumped into the mix and he tweeted, I don't know if Cameron Wimberly's husband cheated or not, but would anybody blame him considering her hero in life, whom she'd kill to emulate, was that lying gold-digging fame whore, Patricia Ashwell?
I mean, we love Patricia.
Oh my God. Patricia is like the best part of Southern Charm. Hello.
Right? I know.
Going to McDonald's in the Bentley.
So good.
What do you think about the whole Thomas fiasco? I mean, he's trash in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, based on the allegations that have been made about him, to like him in any capacity. But again, like, I don't know anyone personally. Like, I don't even know why he's jumping in. Like, for me, like, unless it directly relates to me, which it doesn't directly relate to him at all. Like, why is he's not on the show anymore? Like,
yeah.
Why do you care?
Exactly. Well, I want to move on to something a little bit happier. Sonya's on Worst Cooks of America.
Really?
And it's so funny. Like, I personally haven't watched the entire episode, but I saw this clip of her cooking. Obviously, like, we're in the quarantine Zoom lifestyle, so we used to throw up some video, some audio. YouTube is being kind of weird right now, so we're just taking precautions. So I'm sorry I don't have the clip for you guys, but basically she's cooking, and I don't know what she does, but the whole flames like go up.
Oh, I saw a clip of that.
It's so funny. I'm like, she just almost killed everybody.
So good.
So definitely check that out. It's so funny. Vanderpump Rules ended last night. My last gold star of the day. Probably the worst ending in a Bravo series I've ever seen. No resolution. Everybody was trash, especially Jax. He had the nerve to say to Lisa Vanderpump's face, "This is my show." What? I don't think so. Do you watch Vanderpump Rules, Court?
I do, actually. And I know we were chatting yesterday. I was like, I only watch like Real Housewives, like 2 of them. And then I was watching Vanderpump. I was like, oh, also this.
What did you think about this ending? That last night was the season finale. Didn't it not feel like a season finale?
It didn't. Only at the ending where they like did the weird like fade off and everyone's like walking away. And I was like, is it over? Where are they going?
What do you think about Jax and his rage and all that? Do you have an opinion on him? I've been criticized on my podcast. If you go to Apple, the reviews literally say it favors Tom and Ariana too much. I'm all about supporting the allies. Speaking of, leave a 5-star review, please. Get those reviews up. Court, what do you think about that whole other side of Vanderpump Rules when it comes to these cast members and how they act, which is like completely embarrassing at sometimes?
I know, it's a lot. Like, for me, it's hard to relate to because I'm not like a full-time person on a reality show, and I understand that part of that deal is like fully letting all of your emotions out and really expressing yourself in all the ways. So that is a good show for everyone. So I understand that. Like, I try to be a little less judgmental on that behavior because it's partially accelerated because of the situation, I hope.
So it's for the cameras, you feel like a little bit?
Not for the cameras. I'm not saying it's like dramatized, but I mean, it's just like maybe where you would let something pass, that it's your job to let people know what you're thinking and feeling and let other people in on the entire situation. So you sort of have to get involved in things that maybe you wouldn't.
If you're just joining us now, we have Courtney Skippon from Below Deck. This is going to be a really interesting show. I can already feel the dynamic. It's going to be great just because this is a whole different perspective. Courtney has been on Bravo. She's been in front of these cameras. She's been in front of the producers, you know, that kind of provoke and ask questions and get those emotions out of you. So it's going to be really interesting to just kind of hear your take on all the franchises that we're going to cover tonight. So I like that. Let's end on Real Housewives of Atlanta. The reunion part 2 happened. I'm covering that on AfterBuzz's after show, so definitely check that out. But it didn't feel as good as the first one. Definitely the mute thing is really funny. Andy Cohen has just spoke out publicly about it and said that he really wanted to make this reunion iconic because we're all going through this quarantine together. So he really wanted to just make it worth it for everybody. And I think the ladies really delivered. It was so funny. I'm not happy about Nene walking off. And I feel like Andy basically alluded that it's kind of in Nene's court right now if she wants to come back. He says he still loves her and he's still cool with her. But obviously everybody was like, why are you walking away? We're in the midst of talking about something super important. Atlanta fan?
No. I've seen maybe like one episode.
Okay. Definitely one of the ones that put Bravo on the map. It really accelerated everything. You know, there's some trailblazers in the Bravo world, and a couple of them come from the Atlanta franchises. So don't sleep on it, Core. Definitely check it out during this quarantine break.
I know.
Let's get into a little bit of what happened on Below Deck before we talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Real Housewives of New York tonight. My favorite thing that like started my love for you was the seafood tower extravaganza thing. I'm a brunch person. I live here in LA, so I'm all about the seafood tower extravaganzas. I hope you had one after Below Deck ended. Did you ever get your seafood extravaganza?
I absolutely did.
And it wasn't by Chef, right?
No.
Oh my God, I forgot his name. What was his name?
Kevin.
Keven! Oh my God. Why did we have to see him naked on Instagram a couple months later? I'm like, what are you doing?
When was he naked on Instagram?
A couple weeks before the show ended. He was like on top of a mountain.
Oh, yeah.
It was too much. So you know what? All the boys unfollowed me. They were like, we are so over you. The only one who kind of didn't really unfollow me and kind of stayed on was Brian, which was kind of like, you're on screen, boo. Have you guys had any communication since the show has ended?
No.
Has he tried to reach out to you?
No. And he's blocked on all avenues. So unless he figures out my email, don't give it to him. I know you have it, so I'll know where he got it.
Absolutely not. I would never. I kind of want to play like Mary F. Kill with the Below Deck boys.
Oh no.
But have it like you hooked up with Brian, so it would be like it doesn't really make sense though, right? Who would you marry?
Captain Lee.
You know, you can marry Kate if you want.
Oh, Kate's not one of the boys, though. I would definitely marry Kate.
Yeah, I mean, we're very non-exclusive here at It's Bravo, bitch. We're on the spectrum, so you could say anybody, girl.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, we went through a lot with the last Below Deck. You know, there was a lot of macho showcasing and a lot of, you know, definitely like a gender divide, and this was kind of big. Like a lot of people really weren't on the boys' side. It was definitely like a boys' club situation, and we were just not having it as viewers. How would you feel about Ashton returning to TV?
I don't know. Like it doesn't.
Do you think it was big enough to harp on, or it's like, you know, whatever, he was an asshole, we could move on from it? Or is it kind of like, I don't think he should come back to TV, honestly. I don't know.
Here are my thoughts. Like, as far as like canceling someone entirely, I don't really think that that's productive. I think that the way that we learn is through making mistakes. So like everyone individually obviously made mistakes throughout the season, specifically probably some of the deck crew. So that sort of has to be acknowledged in order to move forward and do better, because my problem with the show is that there's like 1 point however many million people watching, and a lot of people look up to it. Like there's 10 and 12-year-olds that watch the show and see that sort of behavior, and if you're defending that behavior and letting everyone know that it's okay, then that becomes normalized. And I wouldn't like to see that be the influence that they have on television.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, it wasn't like Bravo's shade that we're like, oh, let's get mad at him for like, you know, yelling at Riley. Like, no, like there was some serious things that happened that traumatized me. Like, you can't like, you know, push yourself up on a girl and kiss her forcibly like more than one time. The drunken rages and like, I don't know, like as a gay man, I grew up with that kind of fear of the straight macho guy freaking out and beating you up kind of thing. So I don't know. To me, it was triggering. I didn't really like that. So I had a lot of opinions about it, but I am not about the cancel culture. Like I really don't like that kind of involvement with the audience that we've gotten to. I just don't think it's that fun to be a celebrity anymore, because there's so much of a microscope on you at all times. And like, you know, I don't know, like, have you dealt with that kind of aspect with, you know, being on the reality show, the whole microscope thing? Tell me about that kind of aspect.
I don't know, it's tricky. People like largely liked me for the latter part of the season. For the first few episodes, like literally not one person liked me. So that was a lot. But I don't know, I think that the way that people approach, especially from a secondhand perspective, as someone that's only viewing the situation, knowing that it's edited and that you don't really know the person, they come at it from like a really one-sided perspective. Like they make really definite statements about people. Like they see a scenario, and instead of realizing those parts of you that you might even have within you, like everyone is multifaceted, but you see the one facet of the person and you say, you are this.
Yeah.
And I have trouble with that. Like propose questions, have discussions like that from an anthropological perspective. Like reality TV is so interesting in that way. So we should be using that to learn about like how we view other people, rather than just like make one-sided arguments and waste our time. We're not learning anything.
Absolutely. And I feel like when it came to you, there was a lot of judgment on how a woman should act and respond when it came to your relationship on Below Deck. What was that like? Because I was like a what the F kind of person when it came to that.
That was really eye-opening for me, because sort of, I guess throughout my life, that hasn't really been a major player in my life. I think I've been quite lucky to surround myself with people who really respect me and treat me as equal. And not that I haven't been aware that that's a reality for a lot of people and like prevalent in the world, but it just never, it's like, it hits different when it affects you personally. And then you see it coming at you from all angles and you're like, this, like, and it's just like amplified all of a sudden. You're like, and then you start to see it sort of more easily. Like maybe I was unaware of it and it was still happening.
People were literally telling you how to respond. And how to
like
behave.
In every capacity. Like smile, don't smile, dance, don't dance, like flirt with Brian, don't flirt with Brian, like sit down while you're ironing, like do your work. Like just everything that I did like was dictated by someone else, and it was crazy.
I definitely felt that from you, and I definitely saw that on the show. And I see your DMs, like not see them, but you know what you post, and people are ridiculous. You know, when it came to Brian too, he was in the same boat as Ashton, but not as like harshly. I would like to see the best for the Below Deck boys. I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression. You know, we're not here to take people down, especially over here in my corner and the people that I work for and the people that I work with. We're not in that kind of capacity. What we are here to do, though, is showcase light on stuff that people would normally cover up, or, you know, show light into the darkness, so to speak. We like to keep it real in that aspect. Anything that you want to say that people are kind of in the dark about, or something that you want to clear up? Anything that you want to say about the castmates or the last season that you haven't?
Not really. I don't know. I think the only problem that, like, the biggest disconnect between the issues I think that the women and the men were having on the show is that the women were expressing the way that the behavior made them feel. And especially from my point of view, I really tried to do it in a way that was as level headed as possible without making like attacks at people. I was explaining behavior so that they could understand how it makes someone else feel and that they can learn and grow from that so that in the future they can do better. And that isn't a personal attack. That's just me observing behavior that I think is like problematic.
Yeah.
And that's like what I do that with myself. I do that in my own life. Like every human should be doing that. So it's weird for me to see someone, and I know it's a natural defense mechanism to just like get the boxing gloves on and want to defend yourself as a person. But your behavior isn't really always about who you are as a person. Sometimes you just make mistakes or you're unaware. So I was trying to make everyone aware.
We have to grow. We got to grow
Yeah.
these days, especially on a reality show. We love to see a full circle moment. If you've listened to my podcast for a while or a little bit, I say those words a lot. Full circle.
Yeah.
We're storytellers. At the end of the day, we're storytellers and we want to see a story. And it's our job to play that story out. Would you go back to Below Deck? Would you go back on Bravo?
For the right price.
Have you been approached by Bravo to come back or not at the moment?
No, not at the moment.
I think with everything going on, I don't know what's going to happen, but we wish you nothing but the best and we hope to see you on TV again. You were one of our favorites between the Seafood Tower and, just kind of like the RBF. I'm accused of the resting bitch face and just the attitude that you gave off. It was all authentic and truthful and natural reactions. And we appreciate that. We love that. So kudos on that. We have a date for Beverly Hills. You guys, Brandy is going to come back on June 17th. I know we've all been kind of expecting this huge drama on Beverly Hills, and it's coming, but it's coming at a slow pace. So we're 5 episodes in. Andy says that around the 10th episode is when the drama is really going to come in. So I don't know. Let's talk about Beverly Hills. Are you watching?
I am watching.
What do you think about the new girls? Garcelle.
I like Garcelle. We haven't seen that much from her yet, and also she's like new in the cast. But I also am like, why are you on a Bravo show? Like, I feel like you have enough going on. Like you're living well, and now you're like everyone's yelling at you all of a sudden on Housewives. Like you don't need this in your life.
And she's like a huge star.
Yeah, I'm like, you're doing okay.
I specifically remember being little and watching my older brother watch the Jamie Foxx show and talk about Garcelle being like
really
gorgeous. And I remember seeing her, and I'm a huge Coming to America fan. So I like Garcelle. I think she's great. In this episode, you guys are going to see tonight. Also, I just want to say this. I'm sorry I haven't really been covering Beverly Hills and New York like that because I know that my show's on a Wednesday, but I'm really going to start trying to put a lot more effort into covering Beverly Hills and New York just because those two are the people's favorites, and New York is my favorite, but just timing wise, by the time Wednesday comes around, like we're getting ready for the new episode of of New York tomorrow. But I'm still going to talk about what's going to happen in the episode tonight and the little past things. So tonight we're going to see that Garcelle's ex-husband is actually white, which was interesting to me. I didn't really know. So I mean, I like to mix the flavor in the coffee. So I like to see that. So she is celebrating her boy's birthday. She talks about sex in front of them. It was very awkward. And then she showcased her relationship with her ex-husband. He's allowed to pop up whenever. They have joint custody, but they have a really good relationship. He pops up on Thanksgiving. And I just couldn't help but think, that guy cheated, and she sent an email to his entire company letting them know what he did. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
What did you think about that clip that I sent you about Garcelle and her ex-husband? And would you like to see more of that dynamic in that family?
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving learning more about her, and I sort of love that she did that because we're not really seeing that like fire from her yet on the show, like maybe in tiny doses. But I like love that she just went full psycho and did that because I live for that. But
Um,
also that she was talking about like having her kids not find out about like what went down. I'm like, you sent like a company-wide email that got
and,
published.
and I think like his family was included in the email too, like friends and family. Like she sent it to everyone that she knew. Yeah, she did say that, and the boys are old enough to Google, and the boys are old enough to understand when the show comes out, they're gonna watch it.
Yeah, of
I
course,
don't
and
know.
they're on it.
Sometimes people do that. Like I don't know, you were on a reality show. Do you feel like sometimes you would say things that were so obvious that I don't know? Like I feel like those kind of moments are for the camera. What do you think about that kind of perspective?
No, oh, I mean, I'm sure producers like will ask you questions, so maybe they asked her about it. Like she probably might not have been pressed for it, but like I don't know, maybe or maybe and she's meeting new people, so it might have come up organically as well.
Yeah. All the Housewives and Bravo shows are obviously filmed differently. There's people on different stuff. I've seen, because I live here in Los Angeles, and I'm an actor, so that means I work in restaurants as well. And I've seen so many Bravo shows, Housewives being filmed in front of me. The Farmhouse season finale last on Beverly Hills, the season finale when they were all fighting at that restaurant, and
Mhm.
Camille was bringing up all of Dorit's problems. I was there that night working in that
Oh my god, I
restaurant watching.
live.
It was amazing. I talked to Lisa Renna, which was cool, but yeah, they all looked exhausted up close, definitely, but they're all beautiful. But the point is, they made them walk in several times, so I got to see that sort of filming. But then I got busy myself, so I didn't really get to see when they were really going at it. I just heard it and saw commotion and stuff. But obviously, I've seen them intervene and say, walk in again. So I don't know. What I'm getting at is, do they ever intervene in the middle of you guys having a conversation? Like, no, reword it or say that differently. Does that ever happen?
No, but I mean that's probably potentially exclusive to Below Deck because we're working. Like that, we can't have people
Hmm.
stopping us from doing our job because we still, and especially for the deckhands, it's like a pretty important job, and there's safety involved. So they can't. Oh,
Yeah.
unless there's like downtime, they can come talk to us. I mean, about other things, but like they're not interrupting. It's all really organic and natural. I would have been so. Have you seen me trying to like freaking sell body lotion on Instagram? Like I can't act.
I love it. Tonight we're gonna see Dorit. The whole Buca de Pepo thing. I was just dying. I'm like, you are Dorit and then Buca. I mean, it just doesn't. But I'm all here for it, and it's in the Valley. I was dying. Tonight you're gonna see that. She can't really compete with the Pump franchise. She's decorating a room inside of the restaurant. That's going to be really interesting. She's going to debut a like 6-foot ponytail. We saw that last episode actually. But tonight, what you're going to see is that PK thinks that everything is still okay with him and Lisa Vanderpump and Kim, and it's like, are you listening to yourself? You're still throwing shade. You're still
No,
throwing shade. Whose side are you on, Lisa Vanderpump or Dorit?
I mean I love Lisa, so we're
Lisa
Team
or
Lisa.
Kyle?
Um, I don't know. I honestly like I don't love Kyle. Everyone loves Kyle. Not that I dislike anyone because I
Yeah.
don't know them personally, but like I just don't feel like I connect to Kyle and people like really love her.
No, I feel like there's a good divide down the middle. Haven't you ever seen the hashtag Vile Kyle? Like people hate her.
Oh no, I feel like this season people hate her, but I thought before she was like the people's housewife.
Yeah. She is definitely the people's queen. I always say if you're gonna be the queen, like act like it. Definitely don't break down and cry every 5 seconds. That's what I don't like
Yeah,
about Kyle. We could literally drown in a river of her tears.
I know
That's how
she
much
gets a
we love
little
her.
like it gets a little childish sometimes.
Exactly. Um, I feel like, we love a psychic. Every time a psychic comes on, epic things happen. The last time we had a psychic on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I mean, the vape, Allison Dubois, he'll never emotionally fulfill you, to Kyle. Um, I love a psychic, and we see one tonight, you guys. We see one tonight. Lisa and Erica are wearing the same outfit, which has never happened. What do you think about Sutton?
Like her, I don't know. I feel kind of bad for her. I feel like she's just this like lost puppy and everyone's like yelling at her and she doesn't like belong.
Yeah, no, I like her. I think she's totally misunderstood. So she's perfect for the Housewives. She speaks her mind, so she's perfect for the Housewives. She's messy. She's fashionable. I like her. I think she's the perfect storm for it. And I like that she's a little bit kooky.
I know.
Like I'm gonna flip out. I'm gonna flip out. Because this gay guy is gonna be there that we did like an app thing and it fell through. Lisa Rinna's makeup artist. I'm like, honey, this is Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We're not trying to see you fight with some gay guy over a freaking app. You need to fight with the women.
Well,
Whoop Dorit's ass. What do you think about the whole psychics coming in and everything? Because from what we see in the clip I sent to you, it feels very just based on zodiac. Like, oh, an Aquarius is very secretive. I mean, an Aquarius is very like gregarious and out there and stuff. But with the Scorpio moon rising, Scorpios are very, very secretive. So like, Denise, you're very secretive. And I'm like, this is all based on zodiac signs, obviously, from what you just said. And then Lisa Rinna's like, ooh, Denise, you're hiding something. I'm like, this is going to be good. What do you think about this whole thing? And do you love a psychic?
I do. But I mean, that wasn't really, like you said, much of a psychic. Like we can read that like in the New York Times about Denise. Like we don't need him. Like I want you to read like her coffee grinds for me. That's what I need from you. I need like intimate details that she didn't even know about herself.
Exactly. This is the same guy that was on Orange County and was like, Brooks doesn't have cancer. Wow. I just don't see the cancer. I just don't see it. It looks just like him. It might not be him, but I think it's him. If it's him, let me know in the comments. You guys were having like a little issue with YouTube, so the show's not live today. But if you're watching, thank you so much for the support. Please leave a comment and say, hey, I watched at 2, but you weren't here, but I did watch, and I love you, and I will write back. I love the support you guys always give us. You know, I'm all about the engagement, and I really appreciate you guys sending me DMs and sources and reacting to what I post. I love it all, and I love you guys. If you're listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating now. Give us a review. I'll shout you out on the next show. We're really trying to just grow the channel and grow its Bravo Betch. And with those reviews, it'll really, really help. And I got Courtney Skippon on with me. Any last things about Beverly Hills?
Oh, I don't know.
What are you expecting to see this season? Like, what do you want to see? Because Beverly Hills, people have had issues with it the last couple of years. It's been very lackluster. So this season, we're expecting a lot, especially with Brandy. Do you have any comments on that? Like, are you a Brandy fan? And do you think she's going to come in and make the season worthwhile?
Yeah, I don't know that much about her, to be honest, because I'm sort of like newish to Housewives. They yell a little bit too much for me and it gives me anxiety. But I think Brandy's really interesting and she would definitely bring, like, what I love about New York Housewives is that they're like completely insane and they just go pedal to the metal on that insanity. Like Sonia with the corn, like stealing corn in the maze. Like you're like, it was insane. So we're not really getting that as much from Housewives. They're having like very entry level arguments and it's like a little bit boring. So I hope that we can like get something a little juicier.
I think what Courtney's trying to say is, let's have fun again. Can we make America fun again, please? Let's transition right into New York City. You know, my favorite franchise. I'm on the New York After Show on Fridays. Check that out as well. I'm a busy bee over here. So follow me at Hollywood Leon on Instagram to check out all the other stuff that I'm doing, not just It's Bravo Betch. Leah Mobb, the new one, the new cast member on Real Housewives of New York City. What do you think about Leah bringing the flavor?
I really like her.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. I think she's a nice addition. And she's like very level-headed and like relatable, which I love. I mean, in some ways.
I know Luann comes in and is like, oh, your apartment is nice. Oh, that coffee table's too small, darling. We can't eat on that. I'm like, oh my God. You should have known the Countess was going to come over. You should have put some fresh flowers out or something because you know she's going to read you.
Just like clear the coffee table at least. Like she cleared like a small corner and was like, here. I'm like, there's his room, but it's got like cold medication on it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like we could have cleaned up a tiny bit because, you know, the Countess, historically, if we look back, you know, she's going to come in and go, oh, interesting. You know, to quote Nene Leakes, oh, honey, a white refrigerator. Oh, honey. Oh, we got to find you a home. Let's go. So let's talk about this. So New York City, are you one that you watched for a long time? I know you said you love it because they have fun, but have you been watching from the beginning or are you newish to New York as well?
New York is probably my favorite franchise. So I have like, I'm kind of annoying. I'm like a background TV watcher. So I'll do other things and then forget what happened. Now that I've been on a Bravo show, I definitely pay a little more attention because I'm more invested in like the process, but I have watched other seasons, just not like with full attention.
Yeah. Well, the reason I was saying that is because I want to know what your favorite Bravo moment on New York City has been so far.
Oh God. I couldn't tell you. Like on this season or of all time?
Or just in general, yeah. Do you have a favorite Bravo moment in general? Like, you know what? It's not even New York. Like my favorite thing has been like Andy Cohen or, you know, or something. I don't know. What has been your favorite thing about Bravo?
I have really bad memory recall. Like if you ask me what book I'm reading, I'm like, I don't know. Like I just put it down and I won't know.
You're like, let me go to my nightstand and pick it up and I'll tell you.
I have to.
Well, Dorinda's kind of unhappy this season, as we see. I feel like she's doing everything she can to like be happy. You know, she's like, maybe I'll walk by my old apartment. Maybe I'll go eat at the old restaurant that me and Richard used to go eat at, or maybe I'll renovate the Berkshires because she had a flood, so she's gutting up the Bluestone Manor, and she broke up with John, but she's still unhappy. Like she's on Tinsley's jock in a way where we're all like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, get off her jock. They went completely ham at the cornfield, screaming at each other. Your gum lasts longer than my relationship. And then Dorinda turned it all around and broke down about Richard and said that we don't know how much she's been through and everything. Sonia's like, my husband died. So it's like, I don't know, like, how long are we going to do the excuse for Richard? She's unhappy and she's lashing out. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's a lot. She seems really unhappy, and I feel like she's like, they've been things that she's maybe like buried a little bit, and now they're like all coming to fruition on this season. So it's a lot. She seems very angry.
She does. And I'm here for Tinsley. Like, I really didn't appreciate her for a long time. But I feel like now that she's leaving, I'm like, I'm here for your departure being like just full. And like, you know, what I've loved about her the most has been her non-communication. Like her out in the cornfield screaming.
I know.
So good. I feel like sometimes we all need to go to a cornfield and scream, you know?
Wouldn't you love to?
Yes.
It would feel great.
Did you watch New York when Bethany was on it?
I did. I liked Bethany.
Do you think we need her, or do you think the ladies are doing fine without Bethany?
I think they're doing fine, to be honest. I feel like a while ago we needed Bethany, but I feel like this season everyone's like holding their own really well. And I love Ramona. So.
Oh my God. Ramona is just, she's a monster, but she's our monster. Does that make sense?
Truly, it does.
She's crazy. Who would you want to hang out with? Would you want to hang out with Ramona?
No.
Leah?
No. I would hang out with Leah.
I feel like Ramona would be like backhanding, complimenting me. Like I wouldn't show up with like some Louboutins or anything. I'd show up with some Chucks. I mean, they'd be clean, but not gonna. I don't know. I don't
know. Ramona has a daughter though, so maybe she'd be nice.
I don't know. I just feel like there's like an East Coast vibe to me that I'm just, I don't know. I'm a West Coast person, so I can't describe it in like, or I can't articulate it, but it's like a vibe when I go to the East Coast. I'm like, this is just so East Coast. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean? Like I'm a West Coast is the best coast kind of guy. You know what I mean? Do you prefer LA or New York?
Well, my first time as an adult in LA was when we did interviews for Below Deck, so I didn't really see a whole lot of it. And then my first time in New York was actually when we did the reunion. So hard to say. I didn't love LA, to be honest.
Oh my God. So when you went out, it was strictly for work. So you were probably just like Ubering to all these interview places and not really enjoying everything.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Malibu a couple of days because, I love to lounge. So we had like went to Nobu. I went and had some truffle pasta, lay in the sun,
I
like
went to
Malibu Farm. That's very me.
So LA to go to Nobu. So is that where you had your seafood extravaganza? That's expensive ass.
No.
Any boys that have kind of like hit you up because of the show? Do you feel like you've gotten more attention in that kind of way and you feel like you have more options now? Where are you at in your love life?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't think men really watch Bravo that much. I don't know, maybe Below Deck more, but I think the men on the show would be more likely to receive. And I don't know, maybe they have different. I'm not likely to get a DM from someone that's a complete stranger and want to get to know them.
Yeah, but have you gotten any kind of DMs like that? Come on, you have.
Not really. I mean, like, but ones that you wouldn't even really validate with like acknowledgement
or something.
They're either like really, really weird or really weird. Like they're it's like I love you, but it's not like you're not like, oh, okay, perfect, finally.
I think it just works more for men that way. I'm sure like, the boys, they're like, oh yeah, I like these DMs. These DMs are nice. I mean, I've had the boys say that on my show, not just Below Deck boys, but all kind of boys. But I've also had girls on my show say, yeah, I met my boyfriend on Instagram, like actually Hannah from Below Deck was on my show and she's like, I asked her the same question about social media and she's like, well, I met my boyfriend, my Australian boyfriend that I'm very in love with now. And I think she's still with him. So I don't know. We're going to see Below Deck. It comes back June 1st. June 1st. Little insight. Are you going to watch Below Deck this season coming up?
I am. I'm quite excited for it. I've heard some things.
Oh. You've heard. Spill it with us.
I can tell you.
Can you give us anything?
No, nothing. Just that it's going to be really exciting.
Nothing? Any Bravo stars?
I can't tell you anything.
Have you met Hannah before?
I haven't met Hannah, but I've chatted to her briefly on Instagram. And she's from Sydney, where I go quite often. So I was planning on maybe seeing her when I was there over Christmas, but she was away over Christmas, and I was going to maybe meet her for a drink, but I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah. Where exactly are you?
I'm in Vancouver at home.
I love it. Can you give us a little shot of your yard?
Oh, there's like, I'm on the balcony right now and it's like deeply gray out as always.
Oh, there we go.
That's like classic Vancouver weather.
Yeah, I love that kind of gloomy weather. I love Seattle, and I really want to go to Toronto. I really want to go to Montreal. I really want to go to Vancouver, so I'm gonna make the trek out there eventually. Are you
only in the summer?
Yeah, definitely. I am not about the cold. Like I'm from California, like 50 degrees, and I'm freezing, and like, oh, maybe we should go outside. So yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Are you working on anything that you'd like to promote or plug for us?
No. Not a thing.
A lot of stuff sent to you on Instagram. How's that been?
I'm quite pleased about it.
Yeah,
it's like my only benefit from Below Deck. I got like $4 and some free bathing suits.
People send you like cool things to wear and all that jazz?
Yeah, I've gotten some nice clothes, some bathing suits, lots of nice skincare, which is good because we love some skincare. very essential for me.
Yes, protect the skin. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We had a great time. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Hollywood Leanne. Check out the podcast Instagram as well. It's Bravo Betch. You know, I'm posting some memes on there. You know, let me know what you want to see on there. It's kind of weird with the podcast Instagram. I try to post video clips, and I know you guys love those. But also, I need the views to go up. So share the show from the AfterBuzz link. I really appreciate that. Courtney, where can we find you? What do you want to promote?
Not much. You can just find me on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, at Courtney Skippon.
I love it. We will see you guys next Wednesday. We're going to have Pet Shop Boy next Wednesday, who is a fabulous Bravo Instagrammer, totally cute, from New York. He's going to come on and give us all the tea. He's had interviews with Leah and Jennifer Aiden from New Jersey. Do you watch New Jersey? She's like, I'm on Bravo. I don't watch Bravo that much. I'm on it. Well, we've been having a lot of binging marathons on Bravo, so maybe we'll get a Below Deck one, and then it'll all start all over again.
Then everyone will yell at me in the DMs again.
That's exactly what happens. As soon as everything starts re-airing, people start seeing it for the first time, or they get triggered again. So if that happens, make sure to come back and tell us all about it, because we love those messy moments.
Sounds great.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, AfterBuzzers.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.